Hello there, it's Simone. I'm here to ink up my 3 pens for the upcoming week. And this is what the 3 inks are going to be. Diamine Writer's Blood, Robert Oster Tea Time, and Diamine Raise a Glass. This was the full bottle that came in the Diamine ink vent. And I have decided to ink up Writer's Blood with the Benu Ambrosia in Brown Orchid. This has a fine nib on here. I don't even know if I have a cartridge here that I can use. Yes, I tend to use the Kaweco converter, which is a pull converter in here. And then I pulled out the another Benu. Oh, it's 2 Benus. The Benu Euphoria in Gold Coast. It's an Atlas exclusive. This one also has a fine nib on it. And then I pulled out the Lamy Safari limited edition 2024. Violet Blackberry, and I have a 14 karat gold broad nib on here. If you look at this chonker, it's massive. There's different rose gold or nibs, gold nibs for the Lamy Safari. This one is the rose gold version, and it has it doesn't have a breather hole here. It's just separates the tines. My other Lamy Safari, or this is the Lamy LX, same shape, is the regular gold nib, and it has a breather hole. I have the suspicion that that affects how bouncy the tines are, but maybe that's just me and my brain playing tricks on me. But this is what I'm going to use for Raise a Glass. I'm really curious to see how I get along with this, because I have just noticed that I'm really drawn to darker inks, which this is, but fine and crisp lines. This is probably, with this broad chunky nib, is not going to be a fine and crisp line, but we'll see. I'm going to ink them up, and then I'm going to put them into my ink journal like this. And then what I'm also going to do is I just put a cover on here. I felt like I wanted a Hobonichi cover, and so I pulled out an old one and put it on there. I make smaller swatches into this ink swatch book sorted by colors and color families. And then I just started last night this new ink journal as well. Yes, I have so many ink journals and I don't regret any of them. For all of my ink bottles, which I'm inking during the summer of bottles, I'm making a swatch page on Tomoe River paper that I put into this ring binder, and then every time I ink this ink, put this into a pen, I want to write down what pen I used and how this ink combination worked out. And I just want to put 2 lines here, nothing big and fancy. So I did that with all the inked pens all the pens that are still inked, and I decided to sort them alphabetically, which is the easiest way to find them. I have had something similar before, which it is where? I do not know. Nope, it's not around here. But it was in a bound book, and that drove me crazy. I really like having something like that in rings so I can find the pages more easily. And also, I'm able to just try it out and see how it works. So because I'm doing 3 pens in so many different ways, this might be a longer video. And now I'm going to stop waffling about and start inking my pens. So first step is my book. This is a pen that I really need to clean soon. I already did my status update for July on July 25th. This is not included in here, but the week that we are on is this, what was this week? 31st, 31. I can't even talk anymore. Week 32. And that encompasses for my weekly count. No, we're not in July anymore. Nope. August. And today's the 1st, so 2nd, 3rd, 4th, plus 7 to the 11th to August 11, 2024. I did this off camera last time that I filmed. My friend Wendy made me a pudgy bird calmly squatted unfazed by the weirdly jovial mix of ink for this stamp right here. And I think I'm going to do that at the end, but not while on camera. So the first ink I said was going to be this one. Last week I said that, no, the week before, that I actually like raspberry rose very much, and I might even prefer it to writer's blood. So this is going to be looking into the fact if that is true. If you're not a regular viewer, I have recently had my very first moldy ink. So now every time I open an ink bottle, I am checking to see if there's something on there that might need me to be careful while using it. This is more red. Now, what color is this? I do not know. So let's try and see if we can actually ink this up through this. This is so flimsy. Oh, wow. That was, look here. I feel like I'm winning at life right now. Can you see there is ink right here between the section and the nib? Well, that's just how life is then, I guess. I just want to see how this dries so I know how to, where to actually put it in my ink journal. It actually, is this similar to All the Best? No, this is more magenta. And then Diamine Raspberry Rose, it's a little lighter. Huh. Okay, so this is Diamine. Writer's Blood in the Benu. Ambrosia. And the specific color is brown. Orchid. with a fine nib. Huh. I don't know what to write. Let me think about it. Let's do the other things first before I write. So I think, so I have the option of putting it, I printed this color wheel. It is from sensationalcolor.com, and I really like seeing the different hues. It's lighter and darker, what that would look like for this specific color. And if I'm putting this right next to it, I would say that this goes to red violet. Okay, then we will go there. Red violet is right here. So I need a little bit more ink. And I'm going to put that here. Oh, there's nothing here. Okay. Well. I don't really need much ink for these tiny circles here. Yep, and I also don't need this anymore, so I can clean it. Let me know. I don't know. I was going to say, let me know if you like watching these videos, but I don't even know how many more I will be able to film because my summer of bottles is slowly creeping towards the end here. Diamine. Writers. And as you can see, this is Tomoe River paper, and this is Cosmo Air Light paper. There is definitely differences in how the colors present on the paper, because here I would have classified this more as a red. But that's just how it goes. Ugh, this is so... I think I'm going to swap between those two, and then at the end I'll do the bottle journal because I am putting a paper underneath and it's just, I feel like it's too much. So what am I going to write? We don't know. Well, actually, I can say I'm going to stop and just speed up this writing part so that it doesn't take extremely long. I wasn't sure if I still liked this color, but that might have been another one of those I haven't used this in a long time moments and can't remember how much I actually do. This ink is not flowing that well from the nib, which is surprising as I had slotted WB, writer's blood, under the extremely wet inks. But also that gives me a chance, in my opinion, to experience this ink a little bit differently than I had before. I think the reason why I thought I didn't like it was because it was just gushing out of the pens I had it in before, which is a great segue to the ink bottle journal, especially with ink bottles where I have the opportunity to use... No, I'm going to do that right now, even though it's going to be back and forth and... because I still have this that I need to clean and I don't want it to dry up, so I just need to do this in weird ways. So what was I going to say? Yes, especially with bottles, when I have the opportunity to put the ink in many different pens, and that's why this is basically only an ink bottle journal. It doesn't make sense to me to use an ink where I only have a sample of, and I do not intend of purchasing a bottle. which for real, even though I would love to buy more and more, who doesn't want to buy more and more ink bottles? What I'm thinking of doing is actually using the ones that I have until I empty one, or give one away, or sell one. And then I have another opportunity at purchasing more bottles, because I really, first of all, I have a huge variety of colors right now. So let's see how this is going to work out. I did this last night for the other inked pens that I did, and it worked. Sometimes it worked really well and the ink spread out nicely in these, you know, splotches right here. And then sometimes, I don't know if it's how wet the ink is or what is the thing with this, but sometimes it just didn't. And it was just one big splotch. Then I have this left, and I started, let me grab the rest. I started putting this on my letter writing papers at the bottom. So I'm just going to do that too, right here. And I think what I'm going to do is stop again. Using a bottle gives me the opportunity to try this ink in various different pens. And so being able to pull from that reference on a piece of paper just felt like it was something that I was interested in, especially as I just said. Oh wow, look at how it must be wet. How it falls off this nib, writer's blood. And I'm gonna keep this inked, kind of. And so as I just said, I would be interested in seeing how this ink performed in other nibs and pens. And I remember having an experience where it basically came out almost black. So it would be cool if I had that information already somewhere where I can see it at a glance. So for me, it makes sense to have both journals, a fountain pen journal where I put this information under each fountain pen, and then I can see at a glance how the nib works with an ink. If I'm looking to see, you know, what would be a good ink choice or how these ink choices compare. But if I'm looking at, I wonder what writer's blood looked in those different pens, then I look at this page. I hope that makes sense. All right, no, one little one. Okay. For some reason, this looks like clouds to me, and then there is a, you know, grass and some flowers. I don't know why. It just felt empty to do this, but I also wanted a line so that it is separated from the top before I add my fountain pen information. And this is what I came up with. So what is this? Benu, Ambrosia, brown orchid, and fine. And I think what I'm going to do is put my thoughts up, oh wow, about this pen and ink combination here when I'm doing my currently inked review. I feel like having 6 pens, so every other week I have 6 pens inked that I can talk about. And so when I'm doing that in my journal, like so, here, then this is the time that I'm also going to add a sentence onto this page. So the first one is done inking. Voila, it's a lot. So please bear with me. I am not so 100% sure. I was going to ink all of those ink bottles. This one, this. So this would be next week. Then the week of the pen show would be these. But first of all, I'm not really feeling those color combinations. Well, this one would work, but I don't like the color palette here. So I'm not 100% sure if I'm actually going to go through with this inking right now. Either I'm going to stop after this week, which is the one that you're watching right now, or I'll go one more week. That just depends on how I'm feeling. My kids are going back to school in 1.5 weeks. Like when you're watching this, it's going to be the following Monday. And so I'm not so sure if maybe I don't even have enough time for that to ink more pens. And it's not really necessary, to be honest. I still have many of the other pens inked, and burnt out is a little harsh and too much to say about this project, but I feel like I'm okay. I'm okay with calling it done. I have learned a lot. I have played a lot with my pens. I got some really awesome experiences out of this, and that's exactly what I want. And so I think just calling it done after this inking, or maybe possibly the next one, is a good place to stop. I already have this ink in this journal right here. Oh yeah, okay. So now after it's dry, I can see that Writer's Blood belongs to the red violet section. I have already put this here under tea time. So possibly I'm going to end right now. I also feel like I have used all of my pens. I'm looking at the pens that I still have left, and it's like, I don't know. Do I really want to ink one of those right now? What other experience can this give me? I'm really, like, what I'm missing actually, what I didn't think I would, is a Pilot Parallel, possibly with a shimmer ink. That is something that I didn't know I would be missing from this lineup. I tried the, where is it? Is it this one? Yes. The Zoom nib from the Good Blue with Diamine All the Best. But I'm not convinced that this would gives me the same experience. Is this on the outside? Yeah, it's dried up ink. So let's dip this in here. Ink it. If you're wondering if this is, oh, this is working really well. Can you see? Can you tell? If you're thinking that, wow, she has used so much of this ink, absolutely not true. I have just given away samples of this ink. I really have not used much of the ink that I have in bottles. That's one of those. That's why I feel like, no, I should not. I totally shouldn't go and purchase more bottles. I should just use the ones that I have right now. Maybe be so excited and give away some stuff, samples, I mean, but it feels good. I would love to, for instance, when I'm using samples, there is definitely always some of the inks that I feel like, man, I wish I had a bottle of this. But I can write it on a list and just go back and refer back to that list when I am feeling, when I'm done with one of the bottles. So this is Robert Oster. Tea Time. This is an exclusive Endless collaboration from the Cozy Comforts collection. And I like it well enough. It wasn't one of my favorites for sure. Troublemaker Hanging, I wonder how it compares to Troublemaker Hanging Rice. You know what? I still have that pen inked, so I can pull it out and we can just put a writing sample right next to here. This is it's just a little bit greener. Hanging Rice. So if I look at this, this is more grassy green, and this has a little bit more olivey yellow color. Yeah. I hope you can see the distinction between those two. But it's definitely a lovely color as well. You know, if I will be done with this ink at some point, especially this one, because there's maybe a fifth of this bottle is still in here. So I will be done with this, and then I can go and purchase a similar olive green that maybe stands out to me at that point. Benu, Euphoria, Gold Coast, and this also has a fine steel nib. This is a number 6 steel nib. The Brown Orchid has a number 5 steel nib. And at this point with these inks, I would say that I prefer this one over this one. We'll see how that is going to work out for the week and how I feel about it. I really like So I actually started to write about something completely different, but I like that I filled the page. I really like the swampy feel of this ink. The flow in the pen is amazing, and I'm looking forward to using it. It is very similar to Troublemaker Hanging Rice, but has more yellow undertones. I might be ending my Summer of Bottles project with this inking, and I'm actually like, by writing this, it made so much sense to stop it right there, and I feel good about it. I have no desire to burn myself out on this, and it seems a good place to stop before embarking on 30 inks 30 days in September. Yeah, the reason why, so first of all, I told you before, I don't have many pens left that I could ink without repeating myself, and I'm not having any problems with repeating myself. What I'm just like, okay, I've used this month. I'm okay with not using it, you know, again, so soon. It gives me a chance to really empty all of my pens before I'm going to the San Francisco. Well, I shouldn't empty all of my pens, right? Because I want to take some to the San Francisco pen show. But that also gives me the opportunity to just plan and see which pens I want to take, what I want to do there. Empty the ones that maybe I want to have worked on by a Nibmeister. It gives me the opportunity to maybe even film a "this is what I learned," a look back on why did I do this? Did it give me what I wanted? All of those things I could, you know, figure out and have the opportunity to think about before, you know, hustling to get ready for the San Francisco Pen Show. I mean, I don't really have to get ready. I'm just, you know, maybe I'm thinking of last minute gifts for friends that I see. I know myself. I'm the person who always, you know, 5 minutes before she leaves, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to see this and that person. I wanted to bring them something. Let me quickly make this thing that takes hours. And so if I give myself, if I already plan ahead for something like that to happen, then I'm not going to be as stressed. I might be stressed still because, you know, when you live a life, when you live with a head like mine, then of course you have those fabulous ideas that come up way too late, and then you still decide to go through with them, and then you're just, you know, there's a lot of deadlines to be met. But it gives me the opportunity to not have to do other things and feel like I need to do this, you know, when I'm already okay with ending it, instead of getting myself into that position where I'm overwhelmed by myself, so to speak. And so I think that's what I'll do. Robert Oster, tea time. And then, as I said, I have space to think about, to do a highlights video about this project. And I cleaned it again. I wanted to use this for, well, then there's not going to be flowers on this one, I guess. It gives me the opportunity to actually sit down and reflect. What did I learn? Should I do differently next time? Possibly. How many inks did I get rid of? What was the perfect best combination? Stuff like that, you know. How involved was I with this? I definitely know right now that, okay, let me write, because I can't think and write at the same time. What is this? This is the Benu Euphoria. Gold Coast with a fine steel nib. And then let's try this again. There we go. So, when I did this, I started my Summer of Projects, my Summer of Bottles project in the beginning of June. And then I started inking up pens daily. That worked until I don't really know. Oh, until it got so hot that, oh no, I guess this paper is going to go. Last ink, last pen. I'm glad I'm only inking 3 pens, because this is way too much. Wrap up with favorite new discovery, least favorite combo, best combo, she's a 10 but, controversial, and wild cards. So I want to do one of those and just summarize my thoughts on what went well, what didn't go well, and why I loved it. I already can tell that I definitely enjoyed playing with these inks. I think I said it in one of my last videos. I'm also really looking forward to using samples again. So this going back and forth and between using samples and then back at using bottles really makes me excited for the other one. So this color is definitely a violet. I love this so much because I often have a really hard time figuring out what color it actually is, which surprises me a lot, considering that, wow, this is so saturated. Considering that I consider myself an artist, and I have such a hard time categorizing colors into specific color families, spaces. I didn't think that would be so hard. I think that's why it's so surprising to me. Yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect, so I want to mention that for those people who don't watch these videos, who just maybe dip in. What else? Ooh, what the fuck am I doing here? I'm doing it all wrong. Look at this. This is a mess. I think I'm going to use this. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I don't think I want to put more ink in here. We'll see. I can always re-ink this when I feel like I need more. Considering the amount of stuff I wrote in the past month, I don't think I will. So this is Diamine. Oh my gosh, this is so dark. Raise a glass. And it's so broad. Lamy. Safari. Violet Blackberry. This is a broad 14K. So where was I? Yes. I like where was I? I think I talked about the fact that I'm swapping between samples and bottles. That was a great thing. I mean, I will just not talk about it because then I don't have anything to say in that video, right? So I'm gonna stop and write about this. All right. Oh my God, this is so broad. I'm not sure I like this right now. I'm very drawn to finer nibs at the moment, and this doesn't fit the bill at all. But I'll give it a try and see how it goes. The gold nib feels smooth and the ink flows well, so that's a plus. I'm not sure there is much shimmer visible in the writing. Yeah. If I look at it from here, there is shimmer right here, so I don't even know if I got any in the pen, but that's okay. I like the color so far. I see some sheen for sure, but it's not overwhelming. Okay, let me write here, and then let's do the very last. Let's see how that goes in the reverse, because otherwise it's going to be Diamine. Raise a glass. Okay. Am I going to? No. You know what? I'm just going to use this anyway. I would be very surprised if at some point I would actually get down to this spot here. So let's get some ink on the paper. Wow, that's why I'm putting the white paper underneath here. Still, I'm still surprised about the saturation of this ink. It's just so much. Okay. And I'm going off the page. I originally didn't want to film this, but I feel like when you have less ink on the bag, these little teeny tiny, you know, these roads here, they are so fun. Okay, and let's write the name. So, again, as usual, lost my train of thought. I'm really looking forward to the San Francisco Pen Show. I'm looking forward to 30 Inks 30 days. I know it's just the beginning of August, and so I have quite a few weeks until that starts, but I have been thinking, so I know that Corina from Corina Loves to Plan, raise a glass. Actually pre-plans the whole thing, which I find hilarious on the one side, and also so, you know, raising my hat. Is that bowing my head? I don't know. I find it hilarious and so awesome at the same time to have such a level of planning, to be so on top of it. And I know that she will tell me that that's what she needs in order to be able to participate, and I totally get that. I think we should all do what we need in order to be able to do fun things. But I actually thought, you know what? I'm gonna try that this September as well. I wanna pull out all of my ink samples, and I remember that Kristen from Life Inspires Design, for her 30 Inks 30 Days in June, where she used all of the Pilot Iroshizuku inks and tried those. She also pre-planned the whole thing, which I find super interesting, and I want to see how that goes for me. So I'm going to do the same thing in September. And because I'm not filming any of that, besides, I think what I'm going to do, if I recall correctly, I did the same thing in May with my 31 Inks, 31 Days, 31 postcards. I will film a weekly update and share on Saturdays how things are going. But so I'm not doing a daily video. I'm also not probably sharing on Instagram that much. I just want to be in the moment for that. But I want to pre-plan the whole thing. We'll see what comes out. So my plan is, so let me write. How about that? Lamy, Safari, Violet, Blackberry, with a broad 14 karat gold nib. So I want to pull from my project ink down box, look at this sample, decide if I want to use it, and if not, if I want to use it at a later date or get rid of it. And either I'm gonna go in order as I pull them, 30 samples, or maybe I'll sort them later. But I want to pull out all of the samples and then already slot the pens to the inks. I just want to see how that feels, if that gives me something, anything. And yeah, that is what I'm going to do in September, and I'm looking forward to that. But that is time that I need to, where I can't do all of this as well. So I really like how this is turning out, that journal. I really, this is confusing to me, but also look at how chunky my book is getting. I'm so looking forward to using a Tomoe River paper insert next year. And so I'm going to stamp the bird stamp right here. And then I'll do this down here. And then that's another week of Summer of Bottles in the books. And I will see you next for a currently inked review of those pens, and also probably a review of the whole project, what I learned, what I didn't learn, and then I don't know what else. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was a fun video for you to watch. Probably the last one, so there's nothing to share concerning improvements. Thanks again. I will see you soon. Bye.